All right, good afternoon, everyone. I promise it won't be death by PowerPoint, and I'll try to keep it to 10 minutes. I'm going to come at it at a slightly different angle. Listen, some really amazing high-level presentations there, and it's really good to see that there is active change going on. One of my big frustrations over the last couple of years, that it's just not enough by more people. There are 1,000 hotels in Dubai, and there's what, 50 brands represented here. So we have more work to do. So I'm going to bring it down to what we do on an operational level over the last couple of years on our journey, because I also understand that various hotels are at different stages of their journey. So I'm the executive chef of Sofitel, and the big thing that we've worked on really over the past few years is really creating that behaviour change amongst the whole team, because without it, all your stats, figures and numbers don't mean anything. In my eyes, it's from the steward to the chef to the commie, right up to the GM. Everyone plays their part on a day-to-day basis of how you actually achieve really what we're trying to do. So we started our journey 3.5 years ago, and it's about how do you start day one. What does day one look like on your journey? So I wrote a bit of a vision and mission statement that is across all of the hotel, because unless everyone understands the how and the why, all your fancy numbers and data really doesn't mean anything to the young commie chef who's chopping onions and chucking 50% of it in the bin because he's not being trained properly. So our vision and mission is something that we work really hard on. We drive everybody through this program, and getting the buy-in has been really cool to see. I don't know if this works. Let's see, a little fancy schmancy video. So partnerships are something that we've really worked hard on to get going, and we work with some really, really important ones. It's really helped us drive a bit of messaging. So if it doesn't work, don't worry. Oh, there you go. Basically what I'm saying,
chain is waste. Look, we will never get away from food waste. The reality is it's always going to be there. But there are tools to manage it more responsibly. And working with the Reloop guys, it's been really great to see how the team's mindset has changed. To create change, you need a collective will, and that's something we're excited about building here, because I think we've seen real positive over the last month.
For us, it's all about having the right plan with concrete targets and metrics. We make sure that there are the right trainings in place. We try to support in order to find the right suppliers, the right logistics, the right partners.
Minimizing the whole process of food production. I think if we can manage that better and be smart with how we work with the teams, how we work with supply chains, I think the natural benefit of that is we will reduce food waste. As an industry, we are not good enough. That's the reality, and we have to accept where we're at. We've got this, or had historically, a throwaway mentality, and until that changes, nothing will change. But we're fortunate enough here to work with great partners where we have the will to create positive change, and that starts really by sharing great stories. We've managed to really be impactful over the past 12 months by working with various partners that have helped us transform food waste into real positives, and working with the UAE Food Bank, who are an amazing partner. We've managed to turn potential surplus waste into 8,500 meals this year, which is a huge accomplishment for the team. To do nothing, quite frankly, is irresponsible. I've heard the word sustainable so many times over the past year that it's becoming really frustrating for me to keep hearing that, and yet nothing changes, and that we have to be better. And luckily, by working with the right partners, you can make a change, but you've got to really want to.
So yeah, that was a bit of a starting point that really got the team engaged in understanding what food waste is and how we can work better to kind of turn it into a composting solution. Composting is not the solution, reduction is, it starts there. And what I've been really great to see is that everyone's commitment to buying local. I kind of disagree slightly. I think there is enough produce here. We're just not tapping into it enough. We're not having the right conversations with the right people, because I believe it can be done, especially over the last 2 or 3 years. The growth in the whole food security program in the UAE has been really inspiring to see, and to be part of that and tap into that and tell that journey throughout all of our menus across the hotel is something that we really push hard on. Breakfast is another challenge. When I first started in the property, beautiful display, but nobody was eating it, and that was the first thing in the first week. This has to change. I don't want to see donuts, ice cream, cheap products on a buffet. When a supplier says to me, I've got a breakfast cheese or I've got a breakfast cold cuts, that tells me it's not good enough. So I don't want it, right? Because it means my guests are not going to enjoy it. So we kind of cut it in half. We use data, which I'll go into in a minute, about how we can do that. And over a 6-month program, I kind of justified the change. That look, it needs to be there for a reason. It needs to be eaten. It needs to be delicious. As I say often, flavor rules everything. Whenever you're trying to create change, if it's not delicious, you're not going to get the buy-in of your guests. So yeah, we absolutely slashed it in half and really focused on the local narrative, quality first. And as I say, if anyone says to me, I've got a breakfast cheese, they're quickly shown the door. So, and it's been great for guest engagement as well. So it's been a big one. We have a zero food waste commitment to landfill, which has not been easy to achieve. Food segregation is always the issue. You're always going to have a casual staff throwing something in the wrong bin at the wrong time, which means some poor soul's got to go through the bin and pick it out at the end of the day. So again, it's an education thing. But really, we've been a great partner. We went out to see. I never quite trust when people say they do things. So I kind of get out there and have a look yourself and see what it looks like. So we went out to Alawir to see the composting plant, and it's pretty cool to see. And then we went out to a few farms in Hatta to see it in action. So great partner to work with. And then our employee restaurant is probably, in my eyes, one of the most important restaurants in any hotel, because that is your absolute point of engagement with the entire team, not just the culinary guys, but front office, housekeeping, engineering, to really understand what we're trying to do from a food standpoint. How can they then take that mindset within their own departments and create their own little bits of change with what they're doing. So I think one of the most controversial things I did that caused absolute chaos was I just took the bins out of the canteen. Just didn't tell anyone, took it out. And you had staff walking around with big plates of food. Chef, what do I do with it? I said, well, you take it, so sit down and eat it. You know, and I literally, militant, I didn't let anyone out, eat your food. To understand what a clean plate really means and what a gift food is. So that now we do that twice a week. And again, you see that behavior change. I don't care if they go 10 times to eat, but people are taking less and they're eating. You want to eat more? Fill your boots. You know, it's been really cool to see. Smaller plates, basic stuff that we all know, but who's actually really doing it. And then we do a vegetarian day. This also caused a bit of chaos. Chef, where's the chicken? Well, that's tomorrow. You know, eat the cauliflower. So. But that's become one of the most popular days of the week because it's different and it tells a good story. I think most people now use a tech-based solution. They all do kind of the same thing. It doesn't matter which one you use as long as you use it, because using your data is fundamental, how you build your content, how you build your menus. And this was a big thing for me when we did our breakfast change, just recording waste. And it's good for the chefs to really understand. At the end of the month, we do a chef's meeting where we analyse our data and we make decisions based on what next month's menus look like, what people don't want. Maybe it's in the wrong place at the buffet, just move it around, or people generally don't want the feta cheese on the buffet, right? But it certainly helps. It's no good having these expensive tools if you don't use them properly. And that means everyone engaging, not just the guys who sat in the office, it's the commis chefs, it's the stewards, it's the chef de parties. They own this. And it's really cool to see them coming up with ideas of how they can be better. And look, it's getting our young chefs out there competing and telling a great food story. The boys won the UFEX competition. The dish on the side is local Emirati carrots. We went out to the farm, they picked the carrots out, I think somebody mentioned earlier. It's getting chefs to have that emotional connection with local produce is so important. And the plate is actually an old banquet plate that we upcycled in an old bit of plywood that we found. So the whole thing tells a really cool story. And again, it's about getting our young boys and girls into the whole mindset. And again, easy stuff, upcycling, offcuts, the potato chips, that's a no-brainer. The cauliflower leaves, everyone chucks them away, but they're delicious when you crisp them up a little bit. So again, these are on our pub menus. And then working with other chefs within the brand, which is always a lot of fun because you share ideas, which we did for Clamato, and basically it's about creating mindful menus that make sense. The biggest problem I see here is just because you can doesn't mean you should. If we look at some of the local farmers where I see trying to grow figs, for example. It takes a huge amount of water to grow 4 figs. So don't do it. Let somebody else do it. Focus on what we can do. This has been a fun one to do, actually. It doesn't look so pretty, but the watermelon peel, the pineapple cores. I think everyone who works in the kitchen will realise if you're peeling a watermelon, sorry. They carried on, so I'm gonna, right? So the watermelon peel is just basically, we turn the green stuff, we cook it down 3 or 4 hours, and we turn it into a jam. It then can go into a chutney. There's a million things you can do with it, but you've got to think about it. UAE Food Bank, again, we're up to 22,000 meals. This is where I put pressure on supply chain. I think supply chain have a huge part to play in the whole food waste reduction story. I think they'd rather give it away for a dirham than to give it away for free. So my challenge to all of our suppliers is give it away, don't throw it away, because we will do something positive with it. We're up to 22,000 meals year to date. We engage local kids, local schools. It's so important to get them involved as well. Dubai Can we know about, but something that perhaps not many people do is what happens to the water that's left on your table or left in your room? What happens to it? Most hotels will throw it down the drain, or housekeeping, so we don't do that. So we've got this huge water butt that we stick outside the water bottling plant, and all the water goes into it. It's about 150 litres a day, and the gardens come up, fill their bottles, and they just water the plants with it. It's such an easy win. Yeah, again, engaging with kids, getting them involved in what we're trying to do is something that we do a lot, that we need to do more of, and it'd be great to see more hotels doing this with the young kids, young schools. The will for change for kids that you see, it's incredible. So, and that's all the good stuff that we've done. Thank you very much.